How do hackers crack softwares and games? How do people get their hands on HD versions of movies and shows? How are they converted into torrents? And how do they end up on sites like the Bay? We'll cover it all in this single video, starting with cracking. But listen, this video is just a theoretical explanation on how cracking works. Ethical hackers have this knowledge with permission to crack a software. I am not teaching to do anything illegal and neither promoting it. Every company has its own way of protecting their products, but there are some core concepts that hackers rely on when attempting to crack a software or game, and it works in 90% of cases. To understand this, you need to know how software verifies that you've paid for it. It is done by either offline or online validation. In offline check, usually activation keys are required for you to verify. But wait, if it's offline, how do they know if the key is real? Well, when you type the email or username in the activation key, the software uses its custom algorithm to convert it into key, and then match it with your given key. If matched, you're verified. So to crack this software, hackers need to clone the algorithm which generates keys, and since it is completely unique and custom-made, hackers have to reverse engineer the software. Every software is coded using a high-level programming language, which is called source code. This code is human-written and easily understandable. So if you have access to this, you can crack it easily. But of course you don't have the access and you can't have it either, because this human code is then compiled into zeros and ones, which is computer's language called binary. You can't read it, and it can't be converted back into the original code. But there's a catch. Programming languages don't magically turn into binary. They use your CPU's language called assembly for this, and luckily you can convert binary back into low-level assembly. But since it is so close to machine language, it's also very hard to understand and needs a lot of experience. Now, hackers run the software and use a debugger. Debuggers are programs used by developers to find bugs or issues, but hackers can use them to pause software in the middle of execution to read and manipulate the running code. Then they use disassemblers like IDEA Pro or Ghidra to represent the binary into readable form. This is indeed assembly code, but not very clean. Most of the values are in raw hex format. But if you use advanced disassemblers, then it can help you understand what these values mean. Then hackers find how the email is being converted into key. This is usually done by encrypting or hashing it using custom algorithms. Sometimes programs don't use email, they just generate the key directly. That's easier. Hackers clone this algorithm and create their own keygen.exe, also known as the crack. And that's it. Anyone can run this crack to generate keys as much as they want. But what about online activation? There are actually multiple types of online activation. Some need you to log in using email and password. Some ask for license keys and verify it on server so hackers can't crack the algorithm. These are the cases where the features are installed offline and only the verification is done by the server. These can be cracked. But some softwares need you to be online all the time and the content access completely depends on the server. These are highly challenging to crack. In the first case, there are two methods which can be used. First is memory editing or registry editing. Whenever you log in or verify, the software needs to remember that, right? Otherwise, it would ask you to verify after every single click. So to keep track of your verification, the software can save this information, either temporarily or for a longer period of time. Temporarily, they store it in your device's memory, also called RAM. This means you have to log in only when you close and reopen the software. On the other hand, some save this info in the registry, which is a kind of database of your system where software save your settings, enabled options, and other info so you don't have to change it every time you run that software. When it is saved in memory, the cracking method used is called memory editing. Using the same method as before, hackers looked at the assembly code to find out what changes a software makes in the memory when you verify successfully. Then they create a loader application. If you have ever used a cracked game or software, you may have noticed that you need to run a launcher.exe instead of the actual exe file. This launcher is the loader application. It manually makes the changes to the memory and then runs the software's original exe, tricking it into thinking you've already verified. But when softwares are saving the info in registry, it's even more easier to crack. When working with registry, the assembly code will most likely use keywords like hkey, db, reg, etc. But texts are not visible directly in the disassembled code. It usually looks like this. So when you use a disassembler, it has an option where you can search for a text and it will find the values that match. Hackers can use these keywords to locate functions that are saving something into registry, analyze what changes are pushed when verification is done. Then they can either modify the exe file itself into verifying automatically, or create an external launcher similar to memory editing. This is also used to unlock restricted features and settings. But wait, how are these associated with online activation? Isn't this offline cracking? Well, it can be used in both. Basically, in memory and registry editing, hackers are tricking the software into thinking it's verified without going through the online validation. But if this method doesn't work, another technique which can be used is emulating server. For verifying on server, the software will have to send data to a URL, right? First thing hackers do here is find the URL where the requests are sent. Sometimes it is stored in configuration files, and sometimes it could be in the disassembled code as well. This is what it may look like. Now, what hackers do is replace the URL with their own server, then analyze the code to find out what requests are sent and what response from the server validates the software. They program their server to respond with that data no matter what is sent from the software. And this way, even if the user types random credentials, it will be verified successfully. That's basically how online activation is cracked. But these work only if the verification is online and features are installed offline. For example, Photoshop. It's not going to work on server-based softwares, for example, Gmail. Suppose Gmail was a premium service and you need to pay money to get a Gmail address. So even if you crack an installed Gmail application, you can't get emails anyway because the messages are not device to device but from one Gmail ID to another happening on server. You need the account to get the message, and only way you can get it is either by paying or own their whole server. So I'll leave it to you. With that, software cracking is cleared. And fun fact, searching for any software with 94FBR at the end might be illegal. Never search it. Anyways, game cracking is similar as well. But let me explain media cracking first, because it's very simple. See, if a movie is released in theaters, there's no way to get the original HT copy unless it gets leaked by an insider. So first piracy that happens is camera recording with both video and audio in bad quality. But after some time, it gets aired on television, and people with smart TV use screen recording. This time the video is in good HD quality, but televisions put these code randomly on screen sometimes. It can be used to identify the person recording the screen, so it's less likely anyone will do it. Then finally, it's released on streaming platforms like Netflix, Disney+, Hulu, etc. These are also server-based applications, so the pirates who upload usually have subscriptions. This is a basic investment for them since they earn through piracy. I'll explain how in the next video. Anyways, the downloading of these high-quality movies and shows happen on PC, because on televisions, whenever anyone tries to record the screen or take screenshots, the result will be a black screen because of HDCP and other protections used by Netflix. PC is the only device which provides full control over everything. So of course it's the best option for hackers. The communication between your devices and internet can be intercepted, and every request being made can be manipulated. Hackers can track down the source link where the video is coming from and download it. But yeah, it's not that easy. Platforms like Netflix and Hulu use MPEG- technology for streaming. This breaks the original video into many small segments, encodes each one, then shares it over internet. With this, there's no longer a straightforward link to download the whole video. However, even that is no longer secure since many tools have emerged that can decode and download dash videos. So the final barrier left is encryption. These videos being streamed are not open. The whole communication is completely encrypted with multiple layers of security. Even if a hacker intercepts and downloads the video, they need to find the decryption key, which they can't. So, how are these movies and shows pirated then? It's done by cracking the encryption itself. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot about this, but according to a Reddit user, Widevine technology is used in Netflix for not one, not two, but 3 levels of high security with encryption. Ways to crack L2 and L3 are easily available on the internet, but the problem happens at L1. Security at L1 is extremely powerful, and I still haven't found anything related to cracking it. Maybe it's on the dark web. But yeah, it is indeed possible since almost every movie or show is pirated within few hours of release. To wrap it up, media cracking happens when hackers use Widevine exploits to crack streaming platforms and rip off medias including all subtitles and soundtracks. Then they convert it into torrent and upload on pirate sites. We'll see how torrent works next in this video. But before that, it's time for video game cracking. If the game uses similar license keys and login methods, then the process for cracking will be same as software's. Other than that, most of the games come in CD. A pirate installs it, verifies it, then uploads the installed folder on sites for everyone to download. But now comes the twist. DRM, or Digital Right Management Technology. DRM works as an anti-piracy software which comes integrated with both softwares and games. In case of video games, these are more challenging. Video games can tell when you've downloaded a pirated version. DRMs use multiple checks to verify it instead of just license keys. First, they check for hardware changes. If you download a pre-installed game, the DRM will know because of the change of hardwares in your computer. Second, they use encryption. They encrypt all the files and data so you can't modify or copy anything. Third, they use tamper detection. If you somehow bypass the encryption and edit something inside any file or do any modifications, the DRM will know it. It can either revert everything back as it was or limit the game functionality. So in offline game cracking, hackers have to bypass and remove the whole DRM system, then share the game files only. Even if it's a Steam game, the files of game are installed offline on the computer. DRM is the one stopping it from getting pirated. Hackers who are experienced know where the files usually are, and they just need to crack it as they do with other games. But what about online games? In online games, the gameplay and functionality happen on the server. Your PC is just a vessel for displaying visuals and sending your inputs. I've explained how server-based apps work at this timestamp. It's too hard to crack because hackers modifying files won't change the info in server. That's why pirates can never play GTA Online and similar online games. And that's all about video game cracking. I know it was short, but every DRM is different. There isn't any concrete method I can suggest. Just find and remove DRM checks. That's all hackers do. But here's the fun fact. DRMs actually increase the piracy rates instead of decreasing it. Yeah, there are many shocking things about piracy, totally opposite from how people see it. We will talk about it in my next video titled The Real Truth Behind Piracy. For now, let's head over to how these pirated games, softwares, and media reach platforms like Pirate Bay. If someone uploads this to their website and allows free downloads, it will be illegal copyright infringement, and they will be arrested. So the method used in piracy is torrents. In torrenting, we don't store files on a server, we store it on everyone's computer. First, the hacker converts these files into .torrent format. To create and download torrents, they need torrent clients like BitTorrent, uTorrent, etc. In this process, the files are converted into small pieces of data. When they share this with anyone, the files will be transferred between their devices in form of these pieces. So even if internet is interrupted, next time they start the download, it will be resumed from the piece which was lost. And once all the pieces are received, it is assembled back into the original file and this computer becomes a seed. Then if another person downloads, pieces from both these computers will be shared and it'll also become a seed. And as more people download, more seeds are formed, making the download speed faster. And now, even if one of them deletes the file or goes offline, it won't stop the file from being shared. This .torrent file also needs to be connected to a UDP server, which keeps track of all the pieces being shared and doesn't let it be mixed randomly. It also helps the new downloader to download from the closest computer. Luckily, you don't have to create your own UDP server. There are tons of them available for free. This whole network is called P2P or peer-to-peer network. It is completely decentralized, and even if cops want to arrest someone, they have to arrest everyone sharing that file. And there are thousands of people all around the globe, so that isn't practical. That's how torrent works. And torrent isn't illegal, by the way. It is a great way for sharing large files at a high speed and is actually preferred by many organizations due to many benefits. So I'll tell you how torrents are made. The process may sound complicated, but making torrent is a piece of cake. You just need a torrent client like mine is BitTorrent. You'll see this Tools tab at the top, and the very first option is for Torrent Creator. In the path, you can select the file or folder you want to upload. You can select the size of each piece. Smaller pieces result in faster download speeds, but there will be more number of pieces, increasing the chances of some getting damaged. If this seeding option is off, you have to turn it on or else you won't be able to share. Everything else is not necessary. Last thing left is tracker URL. As I said, you need a UDP URL. You can search for free ones on Google. The one I am using will be in description. You can add multiple too. Now create the torrent. This will generate the .torrent file. And that's it. As you can see, you have started seeding. Just share this file with anyone who has torrent client and they'll be able to download. There's another way to share it using magnet URL. Right-click on the file, and in the copy option, you'll find the magnet link as well. Anyone who wants to download using magnet link can copy it and use this option. That's how torrents are made. Finally, how do pirated content reach sites like Pirate Bay? Well, most of the popular pirate sites provide options to sign in. Hackers usually are members on multiple piracy sites. These sites usually ask for a magnet link, torrent file, and the description of the content. And that's how piracy is working all these years. But wait, do pirates get arrested? And have you wondered why sites like Pirate Bay haven't been banned yet? What's benefit for people who upload pirated content? And did you know piracy is actually a necessary part of the internet? Well, there are lots of things about piracy which we need to discuss, and we are going to do it in the next video, The Real Truth Behind Piracy. Subscribe to get notified when I upload it. For now, watch the video in right side to find the 10 ways hackers use to hack passwords. See you next week.